Sometimes the people closest to you do not want the best for you. We live in a world where everybody is putting on a fake face. Everyone is putting on a mask to hide how they truly feel. Sometimes it's the very people closest to you. It's the ones that raised you. And when you grow up in that kind of energy, life feels heavy before you even understand why. That does not always mean you cut people off completely, right? Sometimes the real lesson is learning how to protect your energy without isolating yourself. How to love people without fully trusting them. And how to stop expecting depth from people who were never meant to meet you there. Even with family, sometimes peace comes from accepting who people are, setting boundaries for yourself, and no longer forcing closeness where there is no alignment. From the beginning, life felt heavy. I grew up in an environment where I often felt overlooked, emotionally alone, and sometimes forgotten. As a child, I did not have the language to explain what I was feeling. But deep down inside, I knew for sure that something felt off. There was a pain, man. There was a tension and heaviness around me. And even though I was young, my spirit felt it all. I learned at an early age, how to stay quiet, how to endure, and how to survive things that no little boy should ever have to carry on his own. One of the only times that I felt real relief as a child was when I was with my cousin. We would ride bikes, laugh together, and talk about God and spirituality like two kids who somehow already knew that there was something greater than this world. Those moments gave me peace. Looking back now, I realized my soul was reaching for something higher, even back then. In the middle of all the heaviness, those moments felt free. They felt pure, and they felt real. At school, I was the one that people laughed at. I was around people, but I never really felt like I belonged. A lot of the jokes were directed towards me. And over time, that really starts to do something to your spirit. It teaches you to question yourself. It teaches you what it really feels like to be physically present, but emotionally unseen. Even in a room full of people, I still felt alone. When I played basketball, I was not the naturally gifted one. Like, there's people on the team who had way more skills than I did. I had to work extra hard just to compete and to play varsity for 3 years. I pushed myself because deep down, I wanted to prove that I mattered. I wanted to prove that I was enough. It's like basketball became this thing bigger than the game itself. It became a way for me to reflect my life. Always striving, always fighting, always trying to earn a place in a world that never made me feel secure. You see, I did not really grow up with a steady father figure. My dad would come around sporadically, and he never really stayed. That leaves a void in a young man, whether he wants to admit it or not. In some ways, my coach became the father figure that I was looking for at that time. He represented structure. He gave me guidance. He had presence. Gave me tough love when I needed it. Would pick me up sometimes when my mom couldn't pick me up for practice. Sometimes the people who help you to help shape you are not the ones who gave you life, but the ones who show up when your soul needs them the most. As I got older, watching my mom struggle, I started realizing I was carrying something deeper. I felt a pressure that I had to step up to be the oldest son that she needed. There was a heaviness in me that I could not explain. I would go through life feeling like something was off, like there was a burden inside of me that nobody else could see. Even when people said, "You're fine, you're good," I knew deep down that I was carrying pain that had built up for years. A lot of what I ignored as a child started to rise to the surface around this time, once I became an adult. After high school, I was trying to figure out what was I supposed to do with my life. So I decided to go to the military. That was the first time I saw that kind of money, the first time I had that kind of freedom. I'm like, bro, I've never seen no type of money like this before in my life. But deep down, I was searching for something else. But for the first time, I felt power. For the first time, I felt seen. I felt like I was in control. But I was still searching. While I was there, I met a girl named Lundy. And every chance we got, we would talk, joke around. And whenever we had a chance to be together, we would take the opportunity. Secretly, of course, because basic training, boy, they don't play that. It was strict. But this was the first time I actually felt a deep connection towards somebody, especially someone I didn't even know. But in basic training, none of that romance stuff was tolerated. But there was no denying that there was a deep passion there. Or at least that's what it felt like. After we graduated, right before the flight home, we kissed. For the first time. But before it escalated, we both understood something deeper was happening. She was going back to her home state of New York, and I was going back to Florida. That would be the last time I ever saw her. After leaving the military, I would make my way to Orlando to start my new journey. This is where I met someone that I truly loved. For a while, life felt light. It felt like maybe love was going to heal what pain had broken in me. We had good moments, real moments. Moments that made me feel like, man, you know what? Maybe finally life could make sense. It's like when you've been through so much pain in your life, love can make you feel like this is a rescue. It can feel like finally arriving somewhere safe. During the rise of COVID-19, during the pandemic, everything felt uncertain. That was also the season when my daughter was on the way. I was overweight, out of shape during that time, and life felt very heavy. And the whole world felt unstable. But in the middle of all that fear and chaos, there was something sacred happening. Even in a hard season, life was still being created. Even in the middle of all the hectic news and the chaos, my daughter was becoming one of the greatest blessings the world has ever seen. During that season, I was carrying more than just weight. I was stressing about the pandemic. I was about to become a father. I was doing good at my job, but just overall, everything felt very heavy. Just wondering, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna be able to be a good father? During that time, the stress was really starting to get to me. I was going to the doctor to get checked and dealing with the fear that comes when your body feels off and your mind is already heavy. It was one of those times in life where everything felt uncertain and I was trying to hold myself together the best way I could. But we all need someone to lean on. When I graduated from college and I got my bachelor's degree, that should have been one of the happiest moments of my life. Everybody came to support me, and my girl was close to giving birth around that time. So on paper, it looked like a beautiful milestone, but the energy was off. I was supposed to feel proud, happy, and joyful, but I didn't. I felt disconnected from myself. And almost like the people around me were there, but the spirit of the moment was not what it should have been. It was one of those moments that taught me that even success can feel empty when your soul is carrying something deeper, when you are not in alignment. Around that time, I had had enough. I was done. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, as they say. My cousin told me about meditation, and then I started meditating. I started connecting deeper with my infinite self, with who I really am. I had a massive awakening. I woke up into infinite expansion, infinite consciousness, into the void, beyond the body, beyond normal reality. In that space, everything made sense. I felt a connection so deep, so loving, so longing. I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. I've been looking to remember who I really was. It's hard to even explain in words. It was like I touched the truth that people spent their whole lives searching for. And when I came back, I knew I was not the same. But for some reason, life got harder. Life still had more lessons for me to learn. What started out with love eventually turned into conflict, heartbreak, and betrayal. And when that happened, it did not just hurt because of that one moment. It hurt because it touched every wound that I had already been carrying. That pain cracked something open in me. It forced me to face the truth that I was not only grieving a relationship, I was grieving years of abandonment, rejection, and emotional pain. Out of all that pain, one of the greatest blessings in my life is my daughter. I see her as a soul connection, a real gift from God, a reminder that love still exists in its purest form. She gave me a reason to keep going. She reminded me that even life breaks you, something holy can still come out of it. Something holy can still come out of your story. Not every soulmate is romantic. Some soul connections come into your life to anchor you back. Anchor you back to love. So I started to work on myself. Physically, I got stronger, in better shape, sharper, and more disciplined. On the outside, I got in great shape, but inside, I was still fighting battles and generational curses in my lineage that needed to be healed. Stuff that doesn't even necessarily belong to me, This season taught me that building your body is powerful, but real transformation has to teach the mind. It has to reach the heart and the soul. And being strong enough to heal on the inside. We are all on the journey, still healing, still becoming, but I know that my pain was not meaningless. Everything that I've been through in my life was shaping me, stretching me, and forcing me to go deeper. What once felt like suffering is turning into wisdom. What once felt like heaviness is turning into purpose. On your journey, one way or the other, you will realize that life does not owe you anything. People don't owe you love. Nobody is automatically responsible for choosing you, for saving you, or showing up for you. And that truth can make life feel even harder at first. But guess what? Maybe that's the lesson. Maybe that's the moment where you stop waiting for the world to hand you something and you finally become responsible for your own healing, your own strength, and your own life. This is my journey. This is my awakening journey. Thank you guys all for watching.